Hey everybody, welcome to another tips and tricks episode. This time we'll be talking about the draft, something I wanted to talk about for quite some time now, but never really got into it. It was always high on my priority list, but never the number one for some reason. Don't actually know, but now we're doing it. Wow, that sounded wrong. Let's talk about the draft. Um, First and foremost, one of the most important things is a good scout. If you have a good scout, you have a higher chance of having a good draft. So I've taken over the Red Sox without real reason. Just I kind of like the Red Sox. So let's take a look at our draft here, our scout, and you can see he's not the best scout. He's pretty average, and average is not good in OOTP. Yeah, he highly favors tools. If you don't know what that means, a scouting director that favors ability will base players' potential ratings on what the player can already do and project what he thinks the player will become in the future. The director that favors tools will base the player's potential ratings on the maximum peak the player could achieve. So in theory, a scout that favors tools will find more superstars, while a scout that favors ability will find more serviceable major league players. I always like having a scout that favors tools, not highly favors tools, but favors tools. There are 5 categories: highly favor tools, neutral, favorability, highly favorability. I always like to go favor tools. I like it to have it one step away from the middle, but not too many steps away from the middle. But never really tested it or something. But I always get good results with favoring tools, so I stick with it. But that's not the best scout. A good scout would be, let me show you my scout from my GM mode. I'm playing a San Francisco GM mode, and front office personnel, the scout there is pretty good. He's good in the first 3 categories and outstanding in the scout amateur category, which is the important category right now. Scouting amateurs is basically scouting draftees. He's got the favorite tool preference, which is always nice. And yeah, I had good results with him up until now. So get someone like that. Maybe better. Would have liked to have a outstanding or what's the other name? Legendary. That's the other word. Legendary in there, but he's got good results. So I'm sticking with him in my GM mode. But let's get back to the Red Sox and their not so good scout. So we already know that the results won't be as accurate as they could be. First year player draft, let's jump right into it. I already simulated the first 3 rounds, not rounds, picks. So the Pirates, Rangers and Tigers already drafted players. We are at number 4. Whom did they take? Draft log. Lawler, Mayer, who was picked by the Red Sox in real life, and Davis, who was picked first overall in real life by the Pirates. Okay, let's continue the draft. You can see I edited the view a bit. If you don't know how to do that, take a look at one of my videos, which is customizing the what's the name? The stats display. That's the word. The words. Customizing the stats display. That's the video I made. I'm gonna put a link in the description below. Come on. So I have it to the basic info, overall potential. I want to see the leader ability, work ethic, and intelligence. Those are very important. The more work ethic, intelligence a player has, the better he's going to learn. So the more likely he is to reach his potential or even get better than his potential projects. I also want to see stuff potential, movement, control potential for pitchers, ground fly, velocity, his demand, signability, and scout accuracy. For batters, I always go, let's keep it a pitcher for that. overall potential, the traits, contact, power, eye, case potential, and demand signability, scout accuracy. That's how I have set it to. And now we can see we have 4 pitchers who are our scout has set to the same potential. Everybody's at 55 potential. We can already see that Kumar Rocker has a problem, or could run into control problems, but has good stuff and movement. The others are more balanced. Patty has high stuff, about 50-50 in movement and control. Leiter has 55, 55, 50. So you don't actually know who's the real better player here. What I like to do in those situations, I'm gonna change the ratings trajectory. Now it's set to ratings relative to MLB. I change it to AAA East, for example. And now you can see our scout thinks that Patty is a better AAA player than Leiter, which leads to he thinks he's a better player. So now we know that our scout likes Patty and Leiter the most out of the 4. That actually helps a lot. Once again, we don't have the best scout, so maybe we should do something else as well. Let's switch to OSA rating, which is not as accurate as any average scout, but maybe it helps. Yeah, you can see they have Patty higher than Leiter as well. So OSA and our scout like Leiter more, Patty more than Leiter. There's another tool I like to use because what's very important here is your ballpark factors. Every ballpark is different, and your guys will play 81 games in your own ballpark. So you should try and get guys that can play very well in your ballpark. What I like to do is use this tool right here. It's called OOTPcalculator.com. And you can put in the name, the team, position, ground fly, staff, movement, control, stamina, hold, and it projects what kind of WAR, ERA plus, FIP, etc. the player could get in your ballpark. I already went ahead and put in all the data for the 455 overall potential players, and you can see WAR-wise they have Patty higher than Leiter, higher than Rocker, higher than Hammond. So based on the ratings our scout gave us, Patty is the better player, slightly better player than Leiter for our ballpark. You can set it to every team here. So very useful if you have players that are totally different. One has very high movement, the other very high control, and you don't know how does this work in my ballpark. Put it in the calculator and it will help you. What I don't like here is that you don't have lefty-righty and lefty-righty option, and that's very important actually. So it helps, but it's not the best or the only help you should use. You can do the same for batters, obviously. So we now know that Patty is the better player than Leiter by our scout, but we haven't checked batters yet. So let's go all batters. And we have Khalil Watson, who was drafted by the Marlins, I believe, somewhere. Where did they draft? They were a playoff team before, so somewhere in the middle. Yeah. He is projected to be the best batter, and we don't actually need to change the view because that would only lead to more higher up potential guys. We already know that our scout thinks he's a better player than the others. We can put him in the calculator as well. Where is it? First, I would like to see what kind of position he could really play, because most likely a shortstop won't stay a shortstop. I can see that he's got good defensive ratings, but I guess he'll be a better second baseman. I always like to have shortstops that are really defensive wizards, like a Javi Baez, Andrelton Simmons, someone like that. I would use him as a second baseman, I guess. Let me quickly go ahead and put his ratings in, and I'll show you what the calculator can do here. There you go. You can see he is projected to become a 70 overall second baseman, 65 third baseman, 60 shortstop, and you can get those kind of wars, defensive wars, with those defensive ratings. So yeah, like I thought, he's more a second baseman, but can play every position in the infield and outfield. He can play every position except for catcher and pitcher. I actually don't know if he can play pitcher, maybe. So I would put that in the batter projection. Let's put in defense, because that's important here. And his position is second base. And I'll quickly do the rest. There you go. So you can see he's projected to be a almost 5 WAR player. That's very good. Very good compared to the 2.7, 2.9. So that's 2 WAR difference. We all know, I guess we all know who we would pick knowing real life. But I've got to use this like a draft in 10 years or something like that, where I don't know real life, where I don't have the information of a real life draft. So I guess I would pick Watson here. I'm usually a guy who drafts batter first and very batter heavy in the first 10 rounds. I only draft maybe 2 pitcher in the first 10 rounds, which is something not everybody's doing. I've heard of people who draft 10 pitcher in the 10 first round and do a lot of trades afterwards, which is something I don't like. I like to draft players that can stay within my organization. And I only need 2 pitchers. If one of those 2 works out for me every year, then I have a new pitcher every year. That's enough for me. So I kind of try to get as many batters as possible because, yeah, there are more positions, basically. Okay, so I would draft Khalil Watson in this case. Another thing that can be helpful, especially in the later rounds, is using a filter. I have 2 filters every time, the batter draft filter and the pitcher draft filter. Let's use the batter draft filter. Here you can see I have it set to everything 45, contact, power, eye, case, and that's not what you have to do. It's just what I have set it to the last time I used the filter. Especially in the first rounds, you can change it up a little, go, I don't know, a little contact heavier, something like that. Especially later in the later rounds, it really helps you if you if you still need something, like if you drafted a lot of power bats, you can use the filter to get all the contact players like that. For example, same with the pitcher draft filter. Let's clear the filter real quick. Self filter, no, thank you. Pitcher draft, and that's something that's really helpful. We have it set to position all batters, but I used a pitcher draft filter, which has stuff, movement, and control potential. And now, pitcher draft. And now I have 4 players that are batters that can play pitcher, and nobody knows. Maybe some know, but we know 2 now. So like this dude, he wouldn't make it early if he's taken at all. But let's take a look at his ratings. You can see he's got decent stuff, movement and control. Maybe we find someone even better. Ratings 55, 50, 50. 3 pitches, high stamina. He's a starting pitcher. And he's got high potential already. What about Jed Lovett? 45, 50, 45. He can be a decent pitcher. And this dude, all 45s. This also works the other way around. Let's clear this filter. Let's go to all pitchers and use the batter filter. And now we have a lot of pitchers that can bat. What about you? He's decent. And you? Yeah, decent. And so on and on and on. I've found some good batters while using this filter and looking at pitchers. A lot of average or slightly above average right now. It's got good gap power. Yeah. You can also find two-way play. Oh, look at that. That's nice to see. And he can also pitch, so he could be a two-way player. Yeah, always. I always check that after the first 5 rounds if I can find a good batter in the pitcher category and vice versa. Really helpful, I believe. So I think that's kind of it. As you saw, I would draft a player that probably isn't the best player out of those guys shown. I guess Jake Leiter is the best player out of the 5 or 6 players we looked at. So what I want to say is you will have misses. That's totally normal. It's baseball. And that's the same in real life. Maybe Jack Leiter is a miss. We don't know. But I believe he's the best player in the game out of those we've seen. And we wouldn't take him. We would take a shortstop second baseman who I don't know if he's a good guy, a good player. What I know is that the AI already drafted 2 shortstops. So maybe not. Maybe not the best. Who knows? But you will have misses. You will have wins as well. So I had opening day in the last episode of my GM mode, and the opposing starter, their ace, the ace of the Oakland Athletics in that year, was drafted in the 16th round. He was a 65 out of 70, I believe. So you will have misses, but using this strategy, you will also have wins. So I hope I could help you somehow. I know this is not the way you have to do it. Everybody is doing it differently. I just wanted to show you how I do it, so that you know. Maybe you've seen something that you can implement into your strategy. I hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.